The Ohio State Buckeyes are headed to Carver Hawkeye Arena. Can they leave with a dual meet victory over the second-ranked Iowa Hawkeyes? That is the question on many fans' minds. The question on my mind, I cannot wait for this duel. It's going to be very, very entertaining. A lot of huge matchups going down here. But first off, yes, I think Ohio State does have a chance. I think there is a path. There's not always a path. Nebraska versus Penn State, there wasn't a path for Nebraska to win that duel. In this duel, I think Ohio State can do it. They will not be my pick in all likelihood. However, there's a way they can do it. All right, and I'll get into the path later. First, let's get into the matches, starting at 125, where it's going to be Brendan McCrone taking on Joey Cruz. McCrone has been having a really nice year. One of the best top wrestlers at 125 pounds. This guy rode out Matt Ramos last week. You know, he didn't beat Matt Ramos, but he was able to ride him out the entire third period. Gets a lot of turns from his cradles. Has a lot of ways to turn it, in fact. He's just really dangerous in scrambles, really dangerous from the top position. I think that's a big challenge for Iowa's Joey Cruz. And I think as you look for how does Ohio State win this dual meet, you probably need bonus at 125. And Cruz on his feet, that's where he needs to keep this match. He should not go under Brendan McCrone. He should keep it neutral as long as he can. He's going to have to win the takedown battle, not go underneath this guy, and do not let Brendan McCrone get on top, because not only could it be end in a pin, it can be multiple turns. He gets a lot of techs as well. I think this is a bonus point opportunity for the Ohio State Buckeyes. But Joey Cruz, if he can keep this on his feet, he'll give himself a fighter's chance at 125. But I got McCrone winning this one. And at 33, this is the match. This is the surprise. This is what I think we could see. Ohio State listed Nick Bouzakis and Ben Davino as potential starters at 133 pounds. Now, Davino is redshirting this year, but he's got a lot of nice wins, including a win over Nick Bouzakis this year. And when you look at matchups, I feel like Davino presents a better stylistic matchup against Drake Ayala than Nick Bouzakis does. And if they're trying to win a dual meet, I think the move here is to use Ben Davino. And I think that's probably what we're going to see, because strategically it just makes too much sense. And I think Ben Davino on his feet, he's a dynamo. He's someone who can match the speed and athleticism that Drake Ayala brings. Now, you lose the power advantage that Nick Bouzakis has. Nick is maybe the strongest 133 out there. I mean, his ability to shoot, get under you, and put you down, it's rare. But I think Davino is a guy that next year we're going to be talking about as a title contender at 133 pounds. And that takes this match from where I would say Nick Bouzakis maybe had a 35-25% chance of winning this. I think this is closer to 50-50 with Davino in the fold. I think that highly of him. Now, let's be honest. Drake Ayala is very proven. We've seen him wrestle in a lot of big atmospheres. This is Carver Hawkeye Arena. This is where Drake Ayala wrestles. This is a big spot for a true freshman in Ben Davino. And can that be an overwhelming thing? It's overwhelmed many in the past, and it could be a huge factor for Ben. But I think we're going to see a really competitive match here. I think Ohio State probably needs this match if they want to win this duel. Can he win that takedown battle? I think he can. My pick's Drake, but I think Ben is right there. Super close match. Then at 141, this is where these first three weights, the Buckeyes need to make hay, because it gets pretty tough the second half of this dual meet. You got Jesse Mendez, the national champion. He's taking on probably Ryder Block, but it doesn't really matter who. Jesse Mendez is a massive favorite, and a decision by Jesse Mendez is a win for the Iowa Hawkeyes. That's the assignment here. The assignment for the Iowa Hawkeyes: do not get bonused here, right? That won't be said, but it's unsaid. It doesn't need to be said. Jesse's got to come out with a mission for a tech fall or a pin, major at minimum against Ryder Block. I think he gets bonus. Does he get a tech? Probably not. I think it's probably sits at a major decision for Jesse Mendez. They're going to need that bonus point. I think the path to an Ohio State win involves that bonus point advantage, because you go to 149, Kyle Parco versus Dylan D'Amelio. Parco for Iowa is going to be a pretty big favorite here. He's looked really solid all year. Now, last week against Cannon Webster, only scored a point, but that's all he needed to win that match. Dylan D'Amelio, I think, will go after Parco a little more than Webster did. Can Parco get on top? I think he'll get an opportunity. And from the top position, I think he's going to present a lot of challenges for D'Amelio. And he already has an advantage from neutral. So I don't know if this is bonus, but You cannot rule out Kyle Parker getting bonus on Dylan D'Amelio in this match. I think that is a possibility. But Dylan is very seasoned. He's a guy that's been there in the mix for the podium, and a lot of pride, a lot of experience, as I mentioned. So I think he fights to keep this to a decision in this case. And then you go 157. I mean, all eyes on this match, right? You got Ja'Cory Teemer. Coach Tom Brand said, hey, yeah, right now it looks like he's ready to go and he can wrestle. Of course, things can change. That media availability with Coach Brands was on Wednesday, I believe. And so now things can change for Ja'Cory. But I anticipate we see Ja'Cory Teemer versus Sammy Sasso. And honestly, Ja'Cory's going to be a big favorite here. And a big part of, we talked about this duel on FRL. And a big thing we were talking about was, well, it seems like the path for Ohio State is Ja'Cory sitting out another duel and Sammy Sasso getting a win. Well, that's not going to be an option here. I think Ja'Cory's going to wrestle. And I think Ja'Cory is a big favorite against Sammy Sasso, who is not the Sammy Sasso of old. This is a different Sammy Sasso. And you have to recalibrate some expectations for Sammy this year. Like it or not, it's just a reality of his new, I don't know if the word physical limitations, but the recovery from the injury is still there a little bit. And he's in matches that a previous version of Sammy Sasso I don't think would be in. And so for Ja'Cory Teemer, unless he has real rust and real issues with his hamstring, I expect him to win, probably by a decision here against Sammy Sasso. And these two have wrestled in the past. You got to go back to their high school days in freestyle, I believe. But it was Ja'Cory that was a winner there. Don't put a ton of stock into that, but I suppose it's notable. Then you go to 165. Mikey Caliendo versus, I guess, Paddy Gallagher is there, 65 now. And Caliendo, one of the most consistent performers for Iowa Hawkeyes the last 2 years. The guy just looks, for 7 minutes, he's trying to score. His left side high crotch is a thing of beauty. Really high pace. He's really hard to get to. Underrated athlete, in my opinion. And I think Caliendo is pushing for bonus here against Paddy Gallagher. I think it's a possibility. Paddy's really tough, but he can struggle on the mat. And I think Caliendo's going to have a speed, strength advantage against Paddy. This could be tough for him to slow down. So I got Caliendo winner by a lopsided decision here against Paddy Gallagher. And then you go to 174. This might be the marquee match. I'm most interested in 33. But 74, I may be sleeping on that. Carson Hartzler versus Patrick Kennedy. 5 for 6. Kennedy ranked 5th. Hartzler ranked 6th. And Hartzler was out much of the season. He's been back. But since he's been back, he's looked really good. Has not lost yet. But either is Patrick Kennedy. Kennedy, he's just looked fantastic. His pace is insane. High attack rate. Really tough on the mat. Moving guys around. Hartzler's got to get, I think he needs to score early. If he's waiting for the third period to score on Patrick Kennedy, I think that's going to be a tough path for him. So if Hartzler's going to win this one, he probably needs to go after it early. I think on his feet, Hartzler from a speed and a technical standpoint, I think he's a little better than Kennedy. But I'm not sure he's the competitor that Patrick Kennedy is. That's what makes this match so interesting to me. And for Kennedy, if you're looking for like a team MVP so far this year, it may be him. He's been absolutely fantastic. So that's a toss-up match. I probably lean Kennedy at home, but Hartzler has a chance to win that, no doubt about it. And then you go to 84. You got Gabe Arnold versus Ryder Rogotsky. Arnold ranked 5th. Rogotsky ranked 20th. He's been a little up and down this year, but that's Rogotsky. He's got a crazy style. He's always looking for the pin. This will be a match where maybe Gabe's in control of it, but you're always going to be squirming a little bit if you're an Iowa fan, because Rogotsky is a guy that can go from down big to putting you on your back in the blink of an eye. And he's done it many times, and he's done it to Gabe Arnold. You got to go back to their high school days, but those weren't so long ago either. And if you consider, maybe Ryder's a little bit bigger, a little bit of experience in the field, I think you throw the rankings out a little bit. 5 versus 20. I expect a really close match here. Don't let the rankings, if you're an Iowa fan, don't see the rankings and think, all right, we got to run away here for Gabe. That's not going to be the case here. I think this is a competitive match for Ryder Rogotsky. Then at 197, this is a match where Iowa is a huge favorite. Stephen Buchanan is a huge favorite against just about everyone. Going to be taking on Seth Shoemate, who's been a pleasant surprise for the Wrestling Bucks, but it's Stephen Buchanan. I don't see how Shoemate gets a takedown here. He's going to struggle getting away. Most guys do. The pressure, positioning of Buchanan is really exemplary. and I think he's probably the winner here. Probably, I'd be surprised if this wasn't a bonus point win. Probably major decision for Buchanan. Then you go to heavyweight. Nick Feldman versus Ben Keeter. I like Feldman in this matchup. I don't think the mat's much of a factor here, but I just think if I have to trust one of those guys to get a takedown, I trust Nick Feldman to get it. He can get it by generating. He can fire off his single leg. He can, but his best attribute is his ability to counter score off reattacks and go behinds. He's really fast, circle mind. Doesn't look like a heavyweight when he's going behind his opponent. So I think he wins there. So what's my breakdown? What's my prediction? Well, I think the best path for Ohio State is a 5-5 split, and they're going to need bonus point advantage. And I think that's going to come at 125 and 141. So Ohio State's most likely wins in this dual meet, I think, are 125, 141, 174, 133, and 285. Sorry, that's kind of a weird order. But I think those 5 matches, that's their path. They need those plus the bonus advantage to beat Iowa. If they don't win, if they don't have the bonus advantage, then they got to get to 6. And that gets really, then you're talking about D'Amelio knocking off Parco, or Sasso beating Teamer, and Rogotsky beating Arnold. These are a little more far-fetched. These are longer reaches for that Ohio State team. But either way, it's going to be an amazing duel. 2 really good teams, 2 of the best programs in the nation year in, year out. You're going to want to watch it Saturday. Goes down Saturday afternoon. This is not a Friday, Sunday situation. This duel's on Saturday afternoon. Don't miss it. Make sure you're watching. Give me your predictions right now for Ohio State versus Iowa. I want to hear from you.